nice. Being there. Hello. Hello, Easy. Welcome.
And for all the wood in this project,
Hotkin, welcome.
some nice heavy-duty marine-grade wood stain, so it has some nice protection from the water. So let's go ahead and get it all installed. And the easiest way I could think of
Hi, Georgios.
drilling out some holes that perfectly line up with the holes in the steel tubing frame, so I can
hello, Sam. Hi.
After installing the boards on the opposite side,
Tack.
you take a bunch of this 1-inch board and slide them over all the 2x4s.
Вернемся.
And to hold those down in place, I'm going to be using some wood screws, just a few, and I'll go ahead and screw those down directly into the 2x4s.
Набрала 1000 вернулась.
Secure connection. And with that, we finally have a nice solid surface that will support our weight on the top. But when it comes to this middle part, since it is going to be over the battery box, I'm going to want to make this part of the deck removable. So let's go ahead and build that out by using some more of the 1-inch boards, and a couple pieces of 2x4, and a bunch of screws to hold it together. Then we can bring it over to the vehicle, and the thing slides over the hole and fits like a glove. But the top board, it's not
Чуть-чуть тише, делай, пожалуйста.
and I'd be worried it would fly around when driving, so I'm going to be using a bunch of these stainless steel clamps and these will get installed with some screws directly into the deck, and I'll put one in each of the corners. And these will ensure that the top part is nice and secure in place, and it's not going to go flying around when I'm hitting rough bumps. And with that, we finally have a nice solid floor, deck, or whatever you want to call it on our awesome amphibious vehicle. One step closer to finishing this build. Up next, it's time to figure out our controls. I mean, we already have our controls installed, but they are just sort of hanging out on the ends of wires. But I want to attach it to something more solid so I can actually hold on to it when I'm driving around. So for that, I'm going to be using this. It's a black steel pipe. And this stuff is great, strong, made of metal, all sorts of different sizes and connectors, so they can easily thread together some super strong shapes. Then, to make it even stronger, to prevent the pieces from ever unthreading,
Thank you! Thank you, MDM! You are like your hero, yeah. Thank you, ID.
Like DMs, and even your channels. But there's a ton more you can do. Chat conversations can lead to so many new ideas. And now, you can turn those ideas into action with just a couple of...
And of course, for the finishing touch, it's gotta be hitting with the nice solid coat of that heavy yellow paint to get these things looking beautiful. Now they're nice and strong,
Thank you,
and they're all
thanks, Yunis! Yeah! Yeah! Thank you, Sleepy.
Directly down to the steel tubing frame with just a couple bolts. And just like that, we got a nice strong metal handlebar
Thank you, guys.
we can hold onto when we're driving around. Now, before I attach all the handlebar controls, I'm going to take some of this yellow electrical tape just to wrap around the handlebar sections for each side, just to ensure there's a little extra grip and something for the controls to ride into. And you probably also noticed that all the controls I chose for this build, they all have the handlebar mount hole, which lines up perfectly with
Thank
the
you so much.
so I can easily attach them down to both sides. But there is one more control I want to add, and that of course is the brakes, because stopping is going to be pretty important. And this is the brake
Sleepy! Thank you!
used on an ATV, and I specifically chose this one because it'll fit perfectly on the handlebar I just made, right next to all the other controls for super easy access. Then, all we gotta
Блин, столько кино не отдает.
the brake calipers I left installed in the front axle, so that we'll actually be able to get this thing to stop on land. I then took some more of the split tubing to cover all the wires for the electrical signals on the controls, just to add some extra protection. Then I can just zip tie them down to the front handlebar for a nice clean look. And with that, I think it's about time we take this big old battery and get it installed in the battery compartment, which is super satisfying as the top part just slides away, and you can just gently drop it down in place. Then, to keep the battery from bouncing around, I'm going to be using those threaded rods, as well as a piece of cutting board that I add some pieces of foam on the bottom. So, when I place it over the threaded rods, I can add in some washers of wing nuts and really tighten it down to the frame, nice and secure.
Thank you, bros.
I can now finally go ahead and hook up the main power wires running to the big old battery. And And I really like how the battery box is still a really nice storage container, so